The year was 1940, the month September. Our story begins with a shriek of noise.
Then an enormous crash. Then another crash, gradual, but growing louder, accompanied by a cloud of choking dust and soot and ash. It was the beginning of the Blitz, the Nazi bombing of London.
Thousands of children had been evacuated out of London the year before, just as war was breaking out. However, when the expected bombing raids did not occur, many children returned back to their homes.
When Hitler began the Blitz of London on September 7, 1940, thousands of children were present. Another effort began to get the children to safety.
That was how we found ourselves shipped out of London to a small British community in the country.
And our lives all changed forever that day.
Always remember to watch behind your ears, Tyler. Did you pack all your socks? All right. I'll pack them. We'll call Mr. Wright so often. Of course I will. You'll be sick of hearing from me. Oh, we're going to Hanover. It's going to be fine.
You will hear from us every day by mail, and Dad will be sure to call you once a week.
I don't want to go.
Are you sure I can't stay? I want to protect you.
Chin up, soldier. I'll be fine, and you need to be away from the danger. You think of your dad and be brave.
Yes, Mom. I love you.
Now, if you like it out there, you write to me and let me know, and we'll bring you right back. I know. Thanks.
All aboard!
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye, Tom.
Bye.
Come on, stop crying. This is an adventure.
I want my mom and dad.
Where are the supervisors?
They're in the next car down.
We're fine. We don't need any help.
Did you hear that, love?
It'll all be fine. Your mom and dad want you to be brave.
Right. Stiff upper lip, young one.
How do you know it'll be all right?
Come on, stop whining. Aren't you glad to be on your own? I am.
She's little. What's your name here?
Annie Summers.
I'm Frances Blakely. Come here, Annie, and I'll tell you a story.
What's your name? I'm Tyler Anthony Bartholomew Banks. Or Tab, if you like.
John Hunter.
Please. Well, I think the other girl is right. This is an adventure. I mean, I miss my mom and all, but I've never been out of London before. Have you?
No. My dad hardly had time to take us anywhere. He was almost always off busy in the service.
Is he in the army?
Yes. He was mostly stationed in India until now, but he's being pulled back to Europe to fight.
Splendid.
My name is Claire Wilson. What are your names?
I'm Tyler, and this is John, and his father's in the army.
That's fine. My dad's a banker, and my mom's a secretary. I've had 4 governesses since I was born, and I've never been on my own before.
I've never had a governess. I'm something, free spirit, according to my mom.
So you won't sit still, won't be quiet.
It's possible that's what she meant.
I thought so. I've got Annie to fall asleep. May I join you?
Of course.
Thanks. So, where do you think we'll end up?
Who knows? Somewhere in the country.
Far from London, I hope. I hope so.
Are you eager to be away from your home as well? Claire is.
Oh, I miss Mom already. I wish she could come too. I'm just excited about the new atmosphere. I'm a writer. Well, I want to be one. And new places inspire me.
That's a good profession to have right now. Years down the road, you may get famous for having written about the war and all.
The train carried us and several hundred other children out of London and into the countryside. As we rode, we learned that none of us had been sent out of London the previous year, and so many children left for the country. But now, with the bombing of London begun, we had joined the hundreds of children leaving the city.
Children, we've still got quite a while to go. Why don't you pass the time by starting your first letters home? You can mail them once you're settled.
Dear Mom and Dad. Well, I'm off to a great adventure. Don't expect to hear from me often. I hope you're both well. Claire.
Dear Mom, please don't worry about me. I know you're praying for me, and I'm thankful. I love you so much. I've already made some new friends.
Dear Mom, have you heard from Dad since I left? I have a picture of the two of you together in my satchel. I think that's very proper for a soldier, don't you think? To have something that reminds him of home.
Dearest Mommy and Daddy, I miss you. Please come and get me out once. I don't want to do this.
Dear Mom, well, stiff upper lip, as my new friend John would say. It's a good thing we all know how to be brave. Don't worry about me.
When we arrived at the station, all of us children were herded out of the train and into the village church, where we lined up against the wall so the families could choose which children they wanted.
I feel as if we're at a cattle market. I'm a cattle. A cow. I know. Why must we stand in lines? We're not being
I want my mom and dad.
There, love. Hey, it'll be all right. What's your name?
Annie Summers. I want to go home.
We're here to keep safe, love. Would you mind coming home with us?
I want my mom.
My husband and I can be sort of stand-ins for your parents. Do you understand? You can play with my daughter Ella and keep her company.
How old is Ella?
She's 5. How old are you?
I'm 7.
We stood and waited. All the other children were slowly picked, and only the 4 of us remained.
Perfect. No one wants us. We'll be sent back to London and we'll be governesses and lessons again.
Well, see? No one else has chosen them. We can afford it, Richard. No, we can.
Of course we will. Somehow. All right, children. My wife and I will take you home with us.
The next few minutes were filled with paperwork and collecting our belongings, and then the bakers led us out of the church and down the street. They lived in a house at the end of the lane, near a brook. We learned that Mr. Baker is not a baker, but a journalist for the local paper. By evening, we had all unpacked and gathered in the baker's sitting room.
This is swell. Much better than London.
I agree. I think the bakers are regular heroes to let us stay with them. Who ever heard of letting 5 children into your home at once?
They're very kind.
I want
Your mom. We know.
to stay. I like it here.
Really? Good for you.
You know, this is a great opportunity for us to build our courage. Here, away from our homes and families, we can still be good soldiers and face our duty bravely.
Oh, yes, sir. I feel I should be saluting.
You may, if you please.
And that was the beginning of our friendship. Before we had been at the baker's a week, we had all grown close. We learned that Tyler was a well-meaning prankster, that Annie was rather spoiled but sweet, and that John was always ready to take command, literally, of a situation, and remind us to be good soldiers and do our duty bravely. Claire was more difficult to get along with. We all liked her, but her sharp words often hurt Annie's feelings, and she tended to hold herself a bit above the rest of us. As for me, the others soon learned that I am an insatiable bookworm and desperate to write a good book myself.
So, what do you want to do?
We could get some exercise. I've been sitting and writing for too long.
Let's go for a march.
I don't want to march.
What about dancing? Dancing is great exercise.
What kind of dancing?
Let's try swing dancing. It's all the rage in America. I've heard of swing.
I suppose we could try it.
My mother has friends who are American, and they taught it to us. See, like this. Rock, step, triple step, rock, step, and so on.
All right, sounds easy enough. Come on, let's make a trip. Come on, I'll help. All right, Annie, turn the music on.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's time to start cleaning for bed. We've got some new arrivals coming to stay with us, and I want everything to be tidy and neat.
More children?
Boys or girls?
Both, in fact. Mr. Baker is down at the station now, picking them up.
Where are they from?
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about. Come sit a moment. Annie, what's in your hair? Glue. Tyler's practicing science experiments.
Come here and let me
try and brush it out. Tyler, I suggest you leave the glue alone.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the two children who are coming aren't from London like you all are.
Where are they from?
They're from Germany.
What?
They're orphan siblings. They were sent out of Germany by a neighbor. Their father knew Mr. Baker, you see.
We don't want any Jerrys living here.
I agree. John, Claire, listen to me. These children are not our enemies. They're probably just as frightened as you all were when you came here last week. How old are they? The boy's 15, so a year older than you, Francis. And the girl's about Tyler's age.
11. Do they speak English?
Yes, in fact. Their father was an English professor, so they speak both English and German. Now, why don't we make this room a nice sitting room again, instead of a dance hall? They should be here any minute. John and Claire,
Yes, ma'am?
they will be our friends. Please remember that.
Children, I'd like you to meet our newest council members, Elias and Mia Schneider. Elias and Mia, these are Francis, John, Claire, Tyler, and Andy, the other children who are staying with us right now.
And this is our daughter, Ella.
Hello there. Lovely evening, isn't it?
Well, it's off to bed with you, Ella. Come along.
Children, you should start to wash up soon.
Yes, Mrs. Baker. So, did you have a nice journey? It was all right once we reached England.
Don't associate with the enemy, Tyler.
What did you just call us?
John, they're new. Mrs. Baker said...
Well, I don't care. They're Jerry's, and probably part of that Hitler Youth and Nazi staff are planning to spy us all and help that German.
How dare you! What is going on here? He called us the enemy and accused us of spying.
I did, and I'm proud of it. Dirty Germans, you're the ones my dad's fighting to take down.
That's enough! John, upstairs now. The rest of you, go. Elias, Mia, I'm sorry about John, children. He feels very strongly about the Nazis.
I'm sorry I fought him, sir.
And I'm sorry for what he called you. But that doesn't mean you can fight him. That won't help anything.
They don't want us here, Mr. Baker. They hate us already.
They'll warm up to you. Keep your head, Elias. If you want to make friends, you've got to learn to control your temper.
Sir, you know that my father, when we were in Germany...
I know. And I'm sorry. Why don't we all just get some sleep and take a fresh look at things in the morning? Go upstairs and Mrs. Baker will show you where you're sleeping.
Dirty Germans.
We have to give you a chance, Elias.
All right, I'm coming.
Dear Mom, it's been a week since the children from Germany arrived. We hardly know how to act around them, and John and Claire have been barely civil.
Francis, would you mind watching Ella for a couple minutes? Mr. Baker and I have to go to town.
That's fine, Mrs. Baker. Where is she?
She's outside playing with Annie. Thank you.
Mr. and Mrs. Baker?
Yes, how can we help you, Officer Bro?
We got your message saying to come down here to the police station.
Yes. This is a bit awkward, but my superiors have instructed me to ask.
What is it?
We've had reports from several different villagers saying that you've taken 2 German children into your home.
Yes, that's correct.
But aren't you hosting a few kids from London, is that right?
Yes.
Don't you think that it's an issue to be hosting good British children in the same house as the enemy?
Sir, with all due respect, those 2 German children are not needed.
Of course they're not. Officer Brooke, the poor children's mother died when they were young. They've just lost their father.
They were sent out of Germany by a sympathetic neighbor and had a terrible time just making it out of the country.
They are no threat to the children from London, or to the village as a whole. They are children.
Hitler's indoctrinating thousands of children to his regime all over Germany.
These children are different. And even if they weren't, this would be a marvelous time to teach them the truth.
Well, I was simply instructed to make some inquiries. We'll be keeping an eye on them, and I'll need to see all documentation that you have on them.
Of course, I can bring that down to the station.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
deal of trouble.
Not as much as Elias and Mia will. Perhaps we shouldn't have taken them.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not worried about the criticism of ourselves, but those two children have been through so much already, and now...
But you knew their father. That makes you the most obvious person for them to stay with. We can't send them somewhere where they'll be absolute strangers. The others will get to know them.
I hope so. The way Elias looked that first night.
It'll just take time, that's all.
Richard! It's good to see you again. Orville, it's good to see you. You all right? It's been a tough week.
I need to get home to the children. Good to see you, Orville.
Take care, Julia. It's my friend, Jonas Schneider. Do you remember him, the English professor from Germany? Yes, when was he here? 32? Something wrong? Well, he's dead. And now his children are with me. Come back to my office. We can talk about this.
The following Monday, after school, all the children walked down the street to the church, where we were to audition for the annual Christmas show the village held. We Londoners had never been in a show before, and were all terribly excited.
I can just see my new career as an actress. I'll have one of those shiny cars and shit. Back in Germany, Elias and I ran a play at school.
What was it? The story of Esther?
No, and I suppose Elias played Haman.
Where?
Come on in. Let's go and try out. This is the church.
I'm sorry about Clara and John.
It's all right. I can imagine how they feel.
They can try imagining how we feel.
Elias?
You see, well, since you're Germans, and everyone knows that Germans hate Jews,
Says who?
Hitler has been...
I'm not Hitler, am I?
Thank you for apologizing.
I suppose not all Germans are like Hitler, are they?
No, excuse me. You all right, Fern?
I just terribly offended both of them. Can't I think before I speak?
Oh, just laugh it off. That's what I do.
I couldn't laugh. It wasn't funny. You should have seen their faces. Like I'd slapped them.
It's going to be hard to get used to them. And they to us. Especially with John and Claire. We'll just have to be in-betweens.
How are you always so positive and cheerful?
Never let them see a down face. Stiff upper lip, my good madame.
Right, come on, let's go.
Nice to meet you. What's your name? I'm John. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Frank. I'm Matt.
Welcome, children, to the auditions for our annual Christmas song. My name is Orville Smith. I'm the church caretaker in charge of the production. Now, how many of you have acted before? You're too splendid. As for the rest of you, I'm sure we shall find...
They can't be in the show.
Why not?
They're not from here.
Jerry's.
They shouldn't be allowed in the show.
Why not? Seeing as they're the only two with experience. Elias and Mia, can you talk?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ah, excellent. Seeing as they can talk and have experience, I see no objections. Any questions? Very well then. I'll take you one at a time.
When it was my turn, I performed a short poem for Mr. Smith. But the way he had dealt with the children's prejudice against Elias and Mia kept coming back to me. Although at first he appeared to me as quiet and slightly absent-minded, his ability to command authority over the situation left a deep impression on me.
Say you want to be a writer. That's so, Francis.
Yes, sir, I would love to be.
It's an interesting career.
Are you a writer, Mr. Smith?
No, I'm too much involved in what has already been written. I admire writers. They have such great opportunity.
What do you mean?
Well, you see, when a writer has someone who will read his work, he has a ready-made audience. He has the ability to speak the truth without flinching, and people will listen. Well, thank you, Francis. Call Schneider, please.
Yes, sir. Speak the truth without flinching. That's too scary. Writers may be able to speak the truth, but people don't always want to hear. You have to risk opposition. That's too hard.
Did you do all right, friend?
I hope so. Elias, Mr. Smith wanted you next.
Okay.
Elias,
Francis, come on.
Ah, welcome, Elias.
Thank you.
You have to audition.
407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met here on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of it as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated to the unfinished work which they have thus far so nobly carried on, that we take increased devotions from these honored dead to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that this government, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Ready?
Gettysburg Address. Why did you choose that piece, Elias?
It means something.
It means something, in general.
Yes, and it means something to me.
Mr. Smith, Tyler and another boy planning to climb onto the roof of the church. I think you'd better achieve it soon.
Of course. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Elias. We'll have to continue this conversation another time.
Okay.
Last full measure of devotion. These dead should not have died in vain. Next.
Nothing bad would have happened, Claire. Why do you have to tell Mr. Smith? Nothing good can ever happen with children climbing onto rooftops. Children?
Besides, remember what happened to Anne Shirley in Anne of Green Gables?
Never read it. Me neither. I read it. Well, my mother read it to me when I was small.
Really? What other books have you read?
Before my mama died, she would read Elias and I all sorts of books. German and British and American stories.
What were some of your favorites?
Tyler, wait. Can you carry me? I'm tired.
But, all right, hop on.
Thanks. Dad used to carry me everywhere.
Well, I'm sure he was a lot bigger than I am.
Oh, he is. I could see all sorts of things from his back. Tyler, when will you grow taller?
I'll get there. Eventually. Probably. Here. Hold on. I have to rest.
Here, I'll carry it.
Annie? You're much taller. Yes, thank you.
Can you see anything?
Yes, I can see all the way down the street. There's the baker's house, and there's Claire and John on the porch. I can't even see Ella. It's just like being on my daddy's back.
Really?
Yes. Now put me down, please. I'd like to tell Ella how the auditions went. Thank you.
You really made her happy.
Yes.
You reminded her of her dad.
Yeah.
Not even Mr. Baker's been able to do that. Thanks
For what?
for making her happy.
You really care about that?
Of course. Being happy is very important to me.
Why?
Well, isn't it important to everyone?
I suppose so. But you act differently than the rest. You always seem to be happy. To have a game, a joke, or a smile.
Mom calls it my coping mechanism. You see, Dad left us last year. Then 6 months ago, we got word he'd been killed in a motor accident. I think Mom sent me to the country because she didn't know how to manage me alone.
She must care for you.
Oh, she does. Heaps. But it's been a struggle. And I think it's easier for her to know I'm safe here than to have to worry about me and look after me in London.
I'm sorry. Well,
Stiff upper lip, as John said.
stiff upper lip. You know, Mia would say that crying sometimes helps.
Don't tell the others.
Never.
Thanks. What happened to your dad?
Never mind about my dad. Come on.
What?
Well, riding on my back reminded Annie of her father. Maybe riding on my back will remind you of your father.
All right.
Oh, Mrs. Baker, today after school we all went down to the church and Mr. Smith announced the parts for the Christmas show.
Claire and I both need choir.
And John and I are to hand out programs and seat people.
Mia, what about you?
I'm in the choir too.
Francis? Oh, Mrs. Baker, I got a part in the skit. You see, first the choir comes on and sings, and then there are recitations, and then the skit, then more singing, and then the bows. We're doing the Gift of the Magi.
Written by a man named O.
It's O. Henry. His name isn't really O. Anyway, I got the female lead.
Congratulations.
Her name is Della, and it's a lovely story. Mr. Smith read aloud the script for us.
Yes, and she plays married.
To whom? Well, Elias.
I see. Well, congratulations to all of you. And where is Elias?
He stayed at the church to work on an assignment. He said to tell you he'd be back soon.
That's fine. The rest of you can help me out. Francis, take Ella outside, will you? Annie, you can go too. Tyler, find John and run down the lane to Mrs. Forrester's house. She has a recipe I want to borrow. On the way back, you can bring in some more wood. Mia, there's wash hanging out. Would you please fold it? Claire, you can help me in the kitchen. What's wrong, Claire?
What do you mean?
You didn't say a word about the show, and you were so excited about it.
It isn't fair.
What isn't fair?
I wanted to part in the skit, and Francis got the lead. And Mia, well, her voice is better than mine, so no one will pay any attention to me in the choir. I know they won't.
I see. I know it must be disappointing for you not to get a bigger role in the production.
It isn't fair. Everyone gets things better than I do.
Hold hard. Aren't you forgetting a few things?
Like what?
Like when you left London to come here. Did anyone come with you to see you off and say goodbye?
Yes.
Who?
My mom and dad.
And where did you leave before you came here?
A house in Kensington.
What kind of house?
A big one.
How many governesses have you had?
4.
Claire, love, look at me. I know things don't always turn out the way you want. That's part of life. But I can't have you standing there saying that everyone gets things better than you do.
I don't mean about money and things. I mean getting to do things. I'm tired of having to go to dinner parties and wear bows in my hair. I wanted to come here to get away from all that, to live differently. But I'm always in someone else's shadow. My parents, Francis, Mia.
I hope someday you learn to value your parents more, love. From all the letters they send, it sounds like they care for you a great deal.
They're always there. I want them to leave me alone.
Claire, come here, let me wash your face.
No, I need it on. She can't wash her face. And neither can I. It's our war paint.
Yes, you can.
Private John Cunning reporting with an armload of firewood and a borrowed recipe, ma'am.
Hey, wash your
We're going to meet another firework.
You can put it in.
Ooh, that looks good.
Oh my god, Sid!
Yes?
And Mrs. Forrester asked me to chop some wood for her, and she paid me this.
Half a crown!
Let me see.
Riches.
Mrs. Baker, do you think I could earn some more money?
It's possible. You could ask around. If I had money, I'd buy you notebooks for writing.
I would buy a one-way train ticket to Scotland.
I'd buy a puppy.
I'd buy a watch, like my dad's.
I'd buy a book. What'd you get, Elias?
Passage back to Germany.
Why? Don't you like it here?
Well,
Why would you want to go back there? To join Hitler?
John?
Sorry, sir.
Well, until the rest of you come into your imagined fortunes, I suggest, Tyler, you put your money upstairs for safekeeping. The rest of you, just gather something till dinner. Elias, will you put away your coat before supper?
fine plan.
You don't really want to leave, do you?
Why? You care?
Of course.
Sorry, don't worry about it. I'm not going anywhere right now. And what?
You're gonna join Hitler, right?
You have to ask?
Was. Elias, supper's ready.
Coming.
The following Monday, the weeks flew by, and we children were all kept very busy at the school, the Christmas show, chores, and work. We all wanted to earn money, and all us Londoners found jobs to do, but no one seemed to want to hire Elias or Mia.
I have £2 saved up for Mom. Tomorrow I want to send it to her.
That's incredible. I've only saved £1.
I only have half a pound. Oh, I just remembered. Mrs. Forrester asked me to stop by your house after school. You two get the mail, okay? All right.
Okay, Tom.
Hello, Miss Bailey. Anything else for the bakers?
Or for us?
Hello, Turner. Here's the baker's meal in the pile.
And for us?
4 large for Claire. And 1 each for Francis, Tyler, and Anne.
Nothing for me?
I'm sorry, John.
Don't worry about it.
I wish my parents wouldn't write so much. Sorry.
How can you possibly be bored of hearing from her?
They were always around back in London. I want a break.
A break?
What? You never wanted your parents to leave you alone?
No. My dad's in the army. He can't come home a lot. And my mom's working with the Red Cross, and she can't write much.
Oh. My parents were always around back home. I felt like they were always nagging me, always asking what I was doing and where I was going.
My dad's been gone half my life. I would love to be around him more.
Really?
Yes. You really don't miss your parents?
No, not really. Do you?
It's not socially to be sentimental. I've forgotten myself. Come on, we have to get to the baker's, or we'll be late for supper.
All right, children. So, we're going through the first set of recitations, skit, then will come the group singing.
Mr. Smith, are there any solos in the singing?
No, I'm afraid just group singing. Now, we shall end the program with Oh Holy Night. Everyone will take their bows.
So exciting.
Do we collect the programs after the show, Mr. Smith?
Yes, if there are any left over.
There's something in my hair. Francis, is something in my hair.
Yes. It's a clothespin.
Tyler. Yes? Did you?
It can be a new style.
Francis, there's one on your jumper.
Tyler, you're the stinkiest boy!
All right, that is all for today, children. I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
And Tyler, make sure the clothespins stay home tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
I went to stop by the post office on my way home.
All right, race to Claire.
Wait for me.
Come on, Annie, we can catch them.
Elias, will you carry me?
Sorry, I just realized I left my script back at the church.
Oh, and I left my notebook. You all go ahead.
Here's my script.
My notebook is inside. I'll be back in a moment.
What are you doing there, boy?
Waiting for Francis.
So one of those German kids, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Well, why don't you just move along? Let's have your trouble.
I got it. Oh, hello, Officer Brooke.
Afternoon, Francis. Move along. Let's have no trouble. I know you.
He was just waiting for me, Officer Brooke.
He's a Jerry. Be careful around him.
Have a good day, sir.
You too.
Oh, dear.
out for me?
Yes, actually. Got a letter this morning.
Really? Thanks.
Dear John, I'm sorry I haven't written in so long. I have bad news, I'm afraid. Our house was bombed 2 weeks ago. I'm fine. I was visiting my friend Mrs. Gladstone when it happened, but nothing is left. I'm staying with Mrs. Gladstone right now. I'm so glad you're safe in the country. Your dad is still doing fine, but his regiment is being relocated. I don't know where. Keep your chin up. We'll be fine. Love, Mom.
Dirty Jerry's.
The night the real trouble started, we children were all in the sitting room after supper.
Fred, tell me a story, please.
Once upon a time, are there princesses in it?
And a dragon?
And soldiers?
I don't know yet.
Could it take place in a foreign land?
I suppose.
Proper stories should have a hero and a villain.
There's plenty of villains in the world already. I say leave villains out of it.
Well, then what's the point of soldiers if there's no evil to fight?
Once upon a time, there was a land in the middle of the sea, inhabited by a princess who had an army of good soldiers to protect her.
From the no-good scoundrel who stole her money.
Tyler, don't interrupt.
No, I'm serious. Someone stole my money.
What? What do you mean?
I went upstairs after supper to put it in an envelope to send to Mom, and it was gone.
There's a villain in our midst after all.
I'm getting a baker's.
Do you think a burglar got in?
I'll bet it was an inside job. Tyler, where did you put your money?
I kept it upstairs, underneath the pitcher, on the windowsill in our room. I had £2 saved up for Mom.
It's only £2. Don't be a baby about it.
It may not be a lot to you, but it's more than I've ever had in my life, and it's rich, girl. Well, still, it's no reason for you to be blubbering like a baby about it.
How would you feel if something precious was stolen? Stop shouting.
I'll bet Elias stole it so he can get back to Germany.
Stop picking on Elias and me.
You don't need to defend us.
I'm trying to be your friend.
Well, I don't need you to be.
Elias, how could you? Stop shouting!
You stop shouting!
Enough! Now then, let's settle this. I'm tired of hearing you kids pick on each other because of where you come from. Tyler, are you sure the money didn't just fall on the ground?
Yes, I looked all over.
Alright. Well then, we might as well have this out now. Children, did any of you steal Tyler's money?
No.
I guess I can let Officer Brooke down at the station now. Are you sure there's nothing you want to tell me? It would be easier to do it now. Alright, I'll be back, Will.
Well, there's nothing more that can be done at the moment. Tyler, come here.
Why would anybody steal my money? I don't understand.
You did steal it, didn't you?
Why would I steal from my friend?
What friend? Basically just told him it wasn't.
Elias has never stolen anything.
Then what happened to the money?
Why is it that only Elias gets the blame? What about any of you?
We're British. We're not from Germany.
Oh, and there's never been a single British trucker. You people think you're so much better than us just because we're German. Not every German is a Hitler. Why can't any of you understand that?
Leave her alone. Instead of whimpering and wavering, why don't you speak the truth for once? If you don't believe all Germans are the same, then say so. Stand up for what's right. Isn't that what Mr. Smith said writers are supposed to do?
You think I'm a coward?
What riddance? Come on, John.
No, I want to be by myself.
Elias, terrible expression you're wearing. Is something wrong? You want to go over my part for the play, that's why I'm here.
Of course. Come in. Have a seat. By the way, didn't I ask Frances to come along?
Oh, she was still at the house when I left. She was upset. Can we do it just us?
Why was she upset?
We all had a row because someone stole Tyler's money.
Everyone thinks you stole it.
Basically. Why, do you think I'm a rotten cherry too? A prototype of Hitler?
No. No, I'm tired of people judging each other by their heritage or nationality. I experienced too much of that myself.
Why did people judge you?
I'm originally from America, you see. My grandfather fought for America's Confederacy during its Civil War.
I didn't know that.
Years after, people from the North hated us for being former slave owners, and we hated them for being Yankees. Even though I had never owned a slave, and they had never fought a battle against us. Hatred has lived on from generation to generation.
That's just it, though. I have no part with Hitler, and neither does Mia, and neither did my father.
I know.
You do?
Yes. Mr. Baker told me what happened to your father. He was a courageous man. You know, Elias, my favorite part of the play is what? The last bit, spoken by the narrator. Go ahead and read that out loud for me.
The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the newborn Christ child. They were the first to give Christmas gifts. Being wise to gifts were doubtless wise ones. And here I have told you the story of two children who were not wise. Each sold the most valuable thing he owned in order to buy a gift for the other. But let me speak the last words of wise of these days.
All who give gifts, these two are the most wise. Beware, they are the wise ones. They are the Magi.
Why did you have me read that?
Why did you choose the Gettysburg Address for your audition?
It reminded me of my father.
Last full measure of devotion. I thought so. This last piece here also reminds me of your father.
How?
You sold the most valuable thing they owned in order to buy a gift for the other. What kind of action is that?
It's selfless.
Exactly. True love is selfless. Love hath no greater man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. That's what your father was doing for all the innocent people the Nazis were hunting.
No one understands that. They all assume we're Hitler lovers.
Did you ever try explaining it to them?
No, it wasn't any of their business.
In my experience, people have a hard time understanding what they have not been told.
I need to head home. I need to find Mia. She was upset.
Abraham Lincoln was truly a great orator, wasn't he? The last speech of his I'm quite fond of. The malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right. Let us strive together to form a just and lasting peace with ourselves and all nations. The malice toward none, and charity for all. Thank you, Elias.
Tyler's money did not show up. Officer Brooke came and did a quick inspection, but found nothing that pointed to burglary.
If you want, I can keep an eye on the German boy when he's on the streets.
That won't be necessary. Elias isn't dangerous, and I don't believe he stole money.
Well, there's absolutely no evidence of the burglary. I think one of the other kids pinched it.
I don't want to believe any of the other kids stole it.
Hard position. Call me if you have any trouble.
Thanks.
The next few weeks went by drearily indeed. We children all went to school and rehearsals for the show, and largely avoided one another.
Francis,
Hello, Nancy.
you never stayed for rehearsals talking. Why not?
Troubles.
Got the German kid sent out his money?
Well, we don't know for sure Elias took it.
I suppose. Still, he seems misled the one who's done it, don't you think?
I don't know.
Well, let's not leave steal from. See you tomorrow, Mom.
Bye.
Now, Ella, I'm the judge, and you're the prisoner.
Oh, Your Honor, I am innocent!
Nonsense! I know you did the crime. You look suspicious.
Now, that's no way to hold a trial, Annie. You can't convict Ella just because she looks suspicious.
Why not?
There's a saying that goes, innocent until proven guilty.
What does that mean?
It means, until we can prove that somebody committed a crime, we can't condemn him merely because he looks like he's done something wrong.
Oh.
Oh.
Ron, can I talk to you?
Sure. You all right? I've been
I have a muddle in my mind.
Oh?
It's Elias. I can't understand him.
You think you really did take your money?
I don't know what to think. When John first accused him, I was angry. Elias was my friend. But then he turned on me and acted like he didn't care. I don't understand. Why do people have to change?
I don't know.
I told him I wanted to send my money to Mom, and then he cheered me up when I was missing my dad. He was swell. And then, friend, do you think he really did take my money?
No, I don't. He all just came to that conclusion without any proof, any evidence.
Really? You think he's innocent?
Yes, I do. We have to convince the others. Come on, let's think.
What do you think you're doing? Singing one of my choir songs in German. Silent Night was originally written in German. Oh. Look, I've been needing to say this to you for a while now. I'm sorry for how I yelled at you that day Tyler's money went missing. What? I was angry, but it wasn't right to be rude. I'm sorry. I can't believe this. What do you mean? You have to try to be better than me in everything, don't you? What? You're prettier, you're a better singer, and you're more notable than me by apologizing when I need to apologize much more than you. Claire, don't cry. I want to cry. I'm tired of keeping a stiff upper lip. I'm tired of being... Oh! No, Weeping, it's all right. You deserve better. No one deserves better. If we got what we deserve right now, we'd all be in hell for our sins. That's true. I never thought of that. I've never tried to be better than you. But you're a better singer, and you're so pretty. I wish for all of us to see my parents again. They won't ever come back. I'm sorry. How could you be jealous of me? I'm German. You don't like Germans. You're different. The propaganda pictures, Germans always look so evil and greedy and all. Well, you always seem so calm. Well, except for when you yelled at me. And even then, you apologized when I was so awful. I'm not perfect. I'm often angry on the inside. I just don't show it much. You fooled me. I wanted to think that because you were German, I could be better than you. But I knew deep down that wasn't true. And you seem to be better than me in everything anyway. I'm not. You have a beautiful voice, Claire. And you're pretty too. But that's not what's important for either of us. It's what's inside. In our hearts? My mama used to quote to me from the Bible. When speaking of women, the Apostle Peter said, "Whose adorning let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair, and of wearing of gold, of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, even the adornment of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God a great prize." I've never thought of that. I've misjudged you terribly. I'm sorry. I forgive you, and I'm sorry too. Can we start over? Of course. My name is Mia. My name is Claire. Nice to meet you.
Now, Ella, you're the lion. I'm the lion tamer. Am I quite savage? Quite. Or simply horrifying.
Annie, we need to talk. Where's Claire?
She and me once had sat a little bit ago.
Really? Come on, do you have time?
Okay, come on, Ella.
What is it?
Look, I don't believe Elias stole my money. You don't? No, I don't.
I don't either, and I'm so sorry for doubting.
I don't either.
How did you know?
He helped Tyler and me feel better. Why would he hurt us by stealing?
That's no proof. We have no proof he didn't steal the money.
We have no proof that he did either.
This is ridiculous. He must have taken it.
Why?
He's a German. That's what Germans do.
Not necessarily.
So, you believe a Jerry over me?
Why not?
Fine.
Where are you going?
Out. Leave me alone.
Well, at least the rest of us are in agreement. Mia, where is Elias?
With Mr. Smith.
No, we were supposed to rehearse today. Since it's Saturday, I forgot. I can't miss again. I'm going after John.
Welcome, Eliza. Francis with you?
No, she was not still at the house when I left.
Perhaps she'll be along shortly.
Okay. Mr. Smith, the other day when we talked about my father and Lincoln, thanks.
You're welcome, Eliza.
That last piece you quoted as I was leaving, the one about malice toward none and charity to all, is that in the Bible?
No. However, the sentiment is there. Love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, does not boast, it is not puffed up, is not easily angered.
I know that passage.
Yes, it's very famous, I believe. And think of Jesus. He is our perfect example of malice toward none and charity for all, who when reviled, reviled not again, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously.
Judgeth righteously. Do you think God's judgments are always righteous, even when they're hard to bear?
They have to be. Otherwise we couldn't trust him.
It's hard.
Yes. But God gives us his Holy Spirit to help us, guide us, and comfort us. He's the one who gives us the power to be able to forgive.
Forgive. To forgive or not to forgive, that is the question. Whether it is better to feed one's anger and lose oneself in vengeful thoughts, or deny one's rage and turn the mind to love.
I'll be home late tonight, Eli. Don't save supper for me.
A lecture?
Something like that.
Father?
Yes, son?
You'll be careful, right?
I will be careful, Eli. But there are times in a man's life where the situation does not allow for taking normal care.
Are you taking a risk?
Papa, I'm so glad I caught you before you left for the university. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ludwig. Eli?
Yes, sir?
Sometimes there are necessary risks. Love is a necessary risk. Elias? Elias!
I want him back.
You know,
He didn't have to speak out. He could have kept quiet.
I don't think a man like your father could have kept quiet. Not for long, anyway.
Why is love so difficult and painful and costly?
Because it's valuable.
Is it worth it?
It's Jesus. I believe I see Francis coming down the road. I think I left my script in the other room. Take care of these papers for you.
Of course. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be ye kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. Be ye therefore followers of God, as dear children, and walk in love, as Christ also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling savor. Ephesians 4:31 to 5:2.
I'm so sorry I'm late, Mr. Smith. Oh, Elias.
Hi.
Listen, I wanted to talk to you. I'm sorry I've been so weak and wavery. You were right. I should stand up for what's right. You and Mia are no different because you're German, and I don't believe you stole Tyler's money, and I'm sorry. I've been wrong.
Ah, Francis, welcome.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's fine. Are we both ready to begin?
Elias?
Yes, I'm ready to begin.
Mom, where are we going? To walk. We've been out for an hour already.
You didn't have to follow me.
I didn't know we were going on a marathon.
Then go home.
Come on, John. Cheer up. We don't know who stole our money, but does it really matter?
Yes,
Why?
we can't trust the Germans. Never.
Why not?
Do you remember why we're here and not in London? Don't you know? Have you forgotten there's a war we're fighting?
Yes. But Elias and Mia aren't
All Germans are the same. If we let our guard down, who knows what can happen.
Come on, John. You're too serious. Let's go and climb to the roof of the church. I never did make it up there.
All right.
Really? I thought you'd say no.
I feel like doing something reckless. Come on.
Wait a second, John. Reckless? John? Thanks for helping us place this system.
You're quite welcome. Both doing excellent. Thanks. Thanks for everything. You're welcome, Elias.
She's so fine, Leah.
Yes, he is. You go into the house. I'll be along in a moment.
All right.
We can make it up easily. See, up the drain pipe and onto the lower part of the roof.
Hold on, John. Maybe this isn't such a good idea.
Why not? You suggested it.
I don't always suggest smart things. Let's go home instead.
I can't. My home's been bombed to smithereens.
I know. Oh wait, it is? Oh, I'm so sorry. Why didn't you tell us?
It's not socially to complain. Here, give me a boost.
But talking about your problems isn't always complaining. Hold on, John. John?
Go ahead home. I'm going up.
Mr. Smith! Mr. Smith, are you in the church? Oh, that's really high up. Okay, you're up. Now please come back down. John?
I can see for miles. Oh, there's that German kid. Why is he here?
Tyler, were you shouting?
No, Elias, John's on the roof. He wants to do something reckless.
John, it rained last night. The roof might be slippery. Come back down.
Don't tell me what to do, Jerry. Everything is your fault.
John.
Leave me alone.
John, come back down before you slip.
I said, leave me alone.
John, come back down,
John.
please.
John.
You're gonna slip.
John!
Somebody help me.
Okay. John?
Steady now.
You got this?
Ah.
Elias! Are you okay?
I'll be okay in a moment.
Do you need any help?
Sean?
I'm alright. Thanks.
You
Don't
need
mention
any help?
I can walk it off. I'll be okay.
Mrs. Baker! Mrs. Baker!
What's wrong, Tyler?
Elias fell off the church roof.
What?
What happened? Where is he? They're coming. He keeps saying he's all right, but he's walking slow and breathing hard.
He probably got the breath knocked out of him, if not worse. What was he doing on the roof?
Elias, are you all right? Did you break anything? Can you breathe?
I'm okay. Just a little shook up.
Let me see. Yes. Nothing appears to be broken, thank the Lord. You rest on the sofa till supper.
I'm okay, really.
Slightly check.
All right, checking in over, nurse.
You saved my life, probably.
I don't think you would have been killed. Just gotten a nasty fall.
Like you did.
Well, I should have been more careful.
Look, what you did was swell. I mean, you didn't have to, especially after all I've done. And thanks.
I'll be back to check on you.
No, don't go. I need to tell you about something.
What is it?
I was the one who stole Tyler's money. Yes, I wanted to get you both sent away. I figured if the Bakers thought Elias took the money, they would make you leave. But I'm the one who deserves to be sent away.
Do you still have the money?
Yes, it's upstairs in my bag. I'm sorry.
Well, at least you can give it back to him. Why are you looking at me like that?
Aren't you angry? I thought you'd be furious and I deserve it.
I'm tired of being angry. Ever since my father died, I've felt like I've been overcome by bitterness. I don't want to be bitter anymore.
I don't even deserve to ask, but will you forgive me? Not just about the money, but how
I've treated you both this whole time. I know I don't deserve it, but
No one deserves to be forgiven. You don't. I don't. None of us do. But yes, I do forgive you.
I'd like to shake your hand.
I think we owe you something, John. You and all the others. Mia, would you call them?
What do you want to tell us?
Someone smart once told me that people have a hard time understanding what they haven't been told. I've been angry at you all for not understanding about our Father, but we never gave you the chance to understand because we never explained.
You see, back in Germany, our father was a professor at a university. He was a Christian too, and was deeply angered at what the Nazis were doing.
My father used his classroom to speak out against what the Nazis were doing. Then he used the school paper. It wasn't long before the authorities learned of his criticism.
They ordered him to stop, threatened him. Papa refused. He said he couldn't sit by and watch innocent people be hurt and killed.
In his eyes, doing nothing was the same as aiding the Nazis in their bloodshed. The authorities arrested him at the university, took him to the police station, and shot him.
A sympathetic neighbor of ours smuggled Elias and me out of the city, and from there across the border into Switzerland. Once in Switzerland, we contacted Mr. Baker, who knew our father.
Mr. Baker agreed to take us in.
That's an awful story. I'm so sorry.
If my father had simply chosen not to speak out, he would not have been killed. For so long, I've been angry at him for not staying quiet and speaking out.
But we're Christians, just like our father. And the Bible says, and we know that all things work together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. We've tried to cling to that.
I admit, I have not tried very hard. I've wanted things to change. For my father to still be alive. I still do.
But if you're still so angry, how could you possibly forgive me? I've accused you of being Nazis time and time again.
I'm not angry anymore. God helped me with that. Mainly through Mr. Smith. They taught me that love is stronger than hate and that we're to forgive others as God forgave us. Mr. Smith gave me this afternoon. When I read this, I knew I had to let go of bitterness.
For of whom a man is overcome, of the same he is brought in bondage. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. 2 Peter 2:19 and Romans 12:21.
I know those verses.
If I allow what the Nazis did to my father make me angry and unkind to others, I'm being overcome of evil.
I've been doing that. Though not because of the Nazis, but I've been so unkind and selfish, and I'm sorry. I think we've all messed up a good deal. And I'm sorry too.
No joke?
It's not funny. Sometimes sincerity is better than sarcasm.
I'm sorry too.
John then told the rest of us what he'd done about Tyler's money. Tyler was hurt, but handled it rather well overall. While John went upstairs to get the money, the rest of us stayed together in the sitting room, emotional but happy.
I understand if you hate me now.
How could I after all we've just talked about? I forgive you, John. So, what do we do now?
I've got to tell the Bakers. They should know.
We all will, and we'll ask them not to send you away.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, form up then.
You're all serious?
Yes, and that's saying a lot for me.
Let's go then.
I'm in the cavalry, Elias.
Mount up, madam.
We're all ready then? John, command us forward.
Forward!
Dear Mom and Dad, you're probably surprised to hear from me. Well, I want to say I'm sorry for how I've been acting. I was wrong. I learned about something yesterday that really made me realize how important you both are to me. We really are blessed, aren't we?
Dear Mom, I suppose you've already heard from the bakers about what I did. I'm ashamed of myself, Mom. I truly am. I thought I would be making Dad proud, but now I know better. Everyone has been swell about it, though, and the bakers want me to stay, despite all I did.
Dear Mom, I miss you. In clothes, you only find a half-pound this time. I hope it's still enough to help with the rent. The rest of my money went towards something else.
Dearest Mommy and Daddy, I helped out at a neighbor's house breaking leaves with Ella. We got 2 shillings each, and I gave mine to a friend.
Dear Mr. Smith, thank you again for agreeing to hire Elias and I. You asked what we're using the money for, and I'll just say we have a friend who could use some help.
Dear Mom and Dad, I miss you. Thanks for the money you sent. I promise it isn't to buy candy or anything silly.
Dear Mom, could you spare another half-a-crown? It's for something important, I promise.
Dear Mom, I'm writing again with a surprise. Enclosed, you'll find £5. You can use it for rent for the new flat. I am part of it, and part of it is from the dear friends of mine who love me better than I deserve. I'm seeing God's love lived out in a way I could never imagine. Isn't it amazing how blessed we are, especially when we don't deserve it? Write back soon, your loving son, John.
How much did I miss? I was waiting at the door for late hours.
The first part of the choir and the presentations, they were top-notch.
What's happening now?
The skit, it's almost over though. See, there's Francis and Elias. He's playing Jim and she's playing Della, remember?
Oh look, there's some seats. Let's sit down.
You say your hair is gone?
You don't have to look for it. It's sold and gone. Be good to me because I sold it for you. I could never count my love for you. Shall we eat dinner, Jim?
I want you to understand, nothing like a haircut can make me love you any less. But if you'll open that, you may understand what I felt when I came in.
Oh, Jim, the hair combs I've always wanted. My hair grows so fast. Oh, here, your present.
A watch chain.
Isn't it perfect? I hunted all over town for it.
Della, let us put our Christmas gifts away and keep them a while. I sold my watch for money to buy your combs. And now I think we shall have dinner.
The Magi, as you know, were wise men. Wonderfully wise men. Each sold the most valuable thing they owned in order to buy a gift for the other. Before we depart, I would like to speak one word to wise in these days. Of all who give gifts, these 2 are the most wise. Everywhere they are the wise ones. They are the Magi.
I like that last part about being wise.
Yes, it's my favorite part of the play. You know what?
Why?
It reminds me of my father. He wanted to stop what the Nazis were doing, so he gave what cost him the most to try to do so.
Listen. Oh, Holy Night. I love that song.
Yes, it's a peaceful song, isn't it?
Yes. God gives us that peace.
Truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love and his gospel is peace. Chains shall we break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease.
for everything. Welcome, lads. God bless you. And you. All right then, home again?
Right. Grace John. Mr. Smith?
Yeah.
I really love the story of the Gift of the Magi.
Glad you did.
Do you think I could ever write something like that?
Perhaps, if God has it in store for you. Start with what you know and...
Speak the truth. Thanks, Mr. Smith. That month was how we all became real friends. I feel God let us go through all of that to bring us closer to each other and to Him. It's been hard, but I'm grateful. Well, I love you to pieces. Right soon. Love, Francis.
Dear Mom, can you believe it's been a year since I've left London? I haven't grown much, though. Still your same short kid.
December 8th, 1941. The United States declares war on Japan.
Dear Mom, how are things at the new flat going? I was thrilled to get that letter from Dad.
June 1942. The Allies won the Battle of Midway against the Japanese.
How long do you think you'll be gone?
I don't know. Tommy has arranged for me to travel with the supply trucks.
Will you be in danger?
Forming near the front has its risks, I admit. It's something to help keep up morale. But while I'm gone, you shall have plenty of time to think over what I ask.
We've already thought. We're ready.
You sure?
Yes, I mean, what do you guys like to add?
It may take a year or two for everything to be finalized, perhaps.
That's all right. We can wait.
July 1943. Victories for the Allies in North Africa.
Dear Mom and Dad, you must be tired of hearing from me by now, but I wanted to update you on life here at the Bakers.
June 1944. The Allies invade Normandy and push forward into France.
Dear Mr. Smith, the adoption papers came today. Mr. Baker is taking care of everything in your absence, so that by the time you come home, we will officially be your children.
May 1945. Victory! Germany falls! The war in Europe is over!
Yes!
And so the war with Germany came to an end. The war with Japan still raged, but peace in Europe meant we could go home. How changed we had all become in 5 years. We older children had asked to come back to London before this, but all our parents wanted us to stay out of danger. So finally, we all once more went to a train station, an event that would once again change our lives.
We have to stay in touch, okay? Write letters and all, every week.
Every chance I get.
Annie, did you pack everything?
Yes, I think so.
Annie, aren't you too big to be riding on Elias's back?
Never.
After all, he's still the tallest one.
I'm as tall as he is.
Alas, I remain short.
I guess the train coming.
Dad, you're home early.
Oh, this is so much.
Oh,
Dad, over here. Oh, I missed you both. Is everything settled?
Yes. British authorities have cleared passage for all of us to get back to Germany to help with the country's rehabilitation.
Perfect. Ron, can I talk to you?
Sure. What is it?
I feel about 11 years old again.
You're excited.
Look, I know what you should write about. You know, to start off your career.
What?
Us. You should write about us.
Start with what you know. Sounds familiar.
Will you? Maybe if people will read our story, they'll learn not to judge others.
Maybe they will. I'll try my way.
That's the best you can do, right?
Hi, come here and say goodbye.
All right. See you later, friend. Bye.
The year was 1940. The month, September. Our story begins with a shriek of noise.
Francis, come over. Annie's father wants to take a photograph before we leave.
All right then. Gather around. All right.
The Second World War lasted from 1939 to 1945.
It was a war of good versus evil, in many regards.
But in any conflict,
Not all Germans were evil.
Not all Britons were good.
Let us be careful of jumping to conclusions and of hatred and bitterness.
Instead, let us remember this.
Of whom a man is overcome, of the same he is brought into bondage. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good.
Being too loud off stage, being too quiet